Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Talking About Balls. I am Justin George, flying the ship solo today. George is out picking up his son. He has basketball. It's that time of the year. And Kyle is, of course, still recovering from that accident. I'm sure most of you guys saw what happened to him last week. He's doing well. I talk to him regularly. He's hanging in there. But obviously with that head injury, it resulted in a concussion. And with a concussion, you struggle to look at lighting and things of that nature. And he is unable to stare at a screen for too long. So doing a show from a computer, probably not the best idea. So obviously wishing him the best. And he will be back soon. Let me just share this really quick if you don't mind. Sorry, everybody. This episode is called the Shedeur Fatigue. I called it that because I feel like that is a condition that a lot of people are facing. Shedeur fatigue is very real, and that is where you are just tired of Shedeur. Nothing against the guy at all. I'll talk more about it as I get into the game and the breakdown and everything like that of what happened against the Titans. But it's just every fucking day, every radio show is just obsessing with this guy. He was a 5th-round pick. Like, I'll get into it all, but my God, it's everywhere. I know there's not a lot else to talk about with the Browns. They're a 3-win football team. More than likely going to be ending the season with only 3 wins. Crossing my fingers that happens because I want the draft pick. But I'm just so sick of every day hearing about Shedeur, and I'll get into it again. Life is happening. There's a lot going on, plenty to get happening. Last week was an adventure. Obviously, my week was not as bad as Kyle, who got into that accident, but I had a sick daughter that then turned into a sick wife. I somehow avoided the sickness. I don't know how. I don't know. I don't even know why I'm wearing a headphone. I don't need a headphone because there's no one to talk to. But, yeah, so I had a sick household to deal with, which is always fun. I had, how do I find that? Sorry, give me a second. Style? No, it's in media assets, I think. And then I got to scroll down. Background, there it is. Sorry, still learning. But yeah, so I had a sick daughter. I had a sick wife. We had plenty of events to get to. We always do shit. I'm so busy for this month. It's like I want to fucking jump off a bridge. But that's life. There's just so much happening. Teddy's had doctor's appointments. I think I talked about it a couple of weeks ago. She had that eye doctor's appointment. Turns out that she has a blocked-ish tear duct. So next Wednesday, the 17th, she will be having surgery on her eye, getting her tear duct opened up. So minor surgery, outpatient. She'll be in and out. But we have that going on. What did I do over the weekend? I do something every day. I had my friend's daughter's second birthday party on Saturday. Then Sunday we had a cookie family event where everyone got together and made cookies as a family. Just so much shit going on. It's not even funny. That's just the life, though. When you have a kid and you have family, you're constantly busy. So had that going on. Had a fucking windstorm a couple of weeks ago. Had 2 trees fall down in my backyard. They somehow split. One fell left, one fell right. It's laying in the backyard. I don't have a chainsaw. I have to go buy a chainsaw now to take care of those. It's just annoying as fuck. Being an adult sucks, and I wouldn't wish it on anybody. But unfortunately, it's inevitable for everybody. However, we are here. We're going to be positive. We're going to talk sports. We're going to have a good time. Yeah, I mean, again, the episode's called Shedeur Fatigue because I am sick of Shedeur Sanders. Not him personally. I'm sick of the hype about him and how every fucking show and every time I go on social media, especially Threads, I know it's an algorithm-based thing, and I don't talk about him. I just scroll through it. It's all about Shedeur. Thanks, George. Everyone's good now. The sicknesses were last week. Everyone's healthy. So getting there, making it through. But yeah, so I'm looking out the window the other day. We had some snow, and Tara's like, I was looking out the window, and there's a strip in the backyard where no snow hit. It's the weirdest thing. She's like, go take a look. So I go look. I kind of look. I'm like, what the fuck is that? It's all the way in the back. I'm like, that's a fucking tree. A tree fell down. So I walk out there to take a look. 2 trees. One fell to the left, as I said earlier. The other one fell to the right. I got to chop them up. I got to go buy a chainsaw. I got to take care of that. I posted on Facebook, wishful thinking, that I said, if anybody wants some free wood, come cut it down or chop it up, and it's yours. I don't want anything to do with it. But unfortunately, sorry, I got a weird text, spam text. Sorry, it had me confused for a second. But I got to get a chainsaw. I got to go out there and chop it up. And it's, of course, the middle of winter. For whatever reason, it is December, and it is full-on February weather. It's been freezing cold. It's been snowy. It's been wet. This is very weird for early December. But I don't know. Maybe that's a good sign that winter will be over faster, but I don't think so. I'm not holding my breath. I'm almost thinking that means we're just in for a worse winter. Years prior, I know we've had some days in December where it's like, 40s, 50s sometimes, not too bad. You can kind of go out in like a light sweater and you're good. But now it's fucking freezing. You have to get up early. You have to start your car. You have to pick the ice off or scrape the ice off, whatever. It's just annoying. I hate it. I don't mind winter. I know what I'm in for living here in Cleveland. When you live in Cleveland, Ohio, that's the weather you get. And I am okay with that. The only problem is this isn't what I signed up for. This early winter, this freezing cold. I mean, we had a shitload of snow right after Thanksgiving. What kind of fucking winter is this in Cleveland? I know it snowed every once in a while in around Thanksgiving time, which is fine. Again, I'm used to it snowing for like a week and then it gets warmer. It goes away. Today, even it was raining all morning and it was like in the 40s. So it was taking away a lot of snow. And I'm like, all right, that's not too bad. That's kind of cool. It's going to get rid of the snow. And then it went from snow right into rain right into snow. And now it's like my wife was driving home earlier. It's like a blizzard, she said, from her drive. So the reason she was driving home is because we got a new dining room table today. So we had to go pick it up, bring it home, take the truck back because it wasn't going to fit in our vehicles. And their delivery was a little pricey. They were looking for $200-something to deliver it about 20 minutes away. No, not happening. Even though I wanted to. I tried to fight it. Tara wouldn't let me. I was like, I don't want to pick it up. I don't want anything to do with it. Just fucking let me pay for the delivery. She's like, no, it's $200. You're not doing that. And I'm like, dude, I don't care. I don't want to do it. But that's life. Got the Christmas tree put up on Monday. We're getting ready for the holidays. And that's pretty much it. Honestly, my life revolves around just coming home. I go to work. I come home. Dad, cook dinner, put Teddy to bed. As soon as Teddy goes to bed, we either watch a movie or I'm watching sports. That's pretty much life on weeknights especially. And then weekends, we always have something going on. Sunday, again, as I said, we went to my brother-in-law's with the family, his wife, their kids, my other sister and brother-in-law, their kids. We brought Teddy, Tara. We all just made cookies, hung out together, watched Christmas movies, even though I wanted to be watching football, but not my call. But yeah, that's just life. As I get older as an adult, that's my life. So here we go. But yeah, so this episode I got a lot to talk about. I got Shedeur Sanders talk. Obviously, I want to talk about the Browns-Titans game. I want to talk a little bit about the Cavs, who are struggling mightily. I want to talk a little bit about baseball. There's been some movement going on. There was a big signing today. There was a trade yesterday. Both players have departed from the New York Mets. Rumors of a third player that's about to depart from the New York Mets. There is some breaking news that literally just happened a couple hours ago about Michigan and what's his name, Sherrod Moore. Sorry, I did a saline nasal spray before I started the show, and now it's just making my nose run. But I thought it would help. Okay, apparently not. Lesson learned. But yeah, so the head coach of Michigan just got fired literally a couple hours ago, so I don't even have a slide for it, but we'll talk about it. However, we do have to talk about Michigan, Ohio State that happened a couple of weeks ago before Kyle's injury and before we didn't air last week. So plenty to talk about. And then, of course, as always, we'll end the show with picks, and we'll end with a preview of the Browns versus the Bears. And then, obviously, the final step is just the tip. But with that being said, let's get into our recap of the Browns versus the Titans. I'm not going to lie to you. I went into this game confident as fuck the Browns were going to win. There was a thought in my mind where I was like, you know what? They're minus 200 or something like that on FanDuel. Do I just bet my whole account on this? Like, it's a lock, right? The Browns are going to beat the Titans are terrible. There's no way the Browns lose to the Titans, right? Whew, thank God I didn't do that because the Browns lost. They found a way to lose to the Tennessee lowly Titans. The Titans are the worst team in the league by far. I know I've been telling everybody all season that the Browns are tanking, and I'm standing by that, especially even more now that it was that apparent. But I didn't think they could out-tank the Titans. Really didn't. What's funny to me, and I have to talk about this a lot with people, there are a lot of really stupid fans out there that still want the Browns to win games when all you're doing, whether you want a quarterback or not, is not my problem. Because we have no control over who they're going to take. But your odds of getting a really talented player goes down the further your draft pick goes. So whether you want a quarterback or not, if you're going to suck, like the Browns suck, they have 3 wins, it's December 10th. What's the point of winning a fucking game at this point? When they beat the Raiders, I was pissed. I wanted to lose that game because the Raiders are probably going to get the number 1 overall pick now because they're tanking like motherfuckers. But then you roll into who had the number 1 overall pick going into Sunday, the Tennessee Titans. Worst team in football, 1-win organization. No way the Browns lose to them, right? Wrong. The Titans came out for some reason. The Browns could not stop their run game. Tony Pollard had a career game. He had like 160 yards. He sat on my bench because I thought the Browns defense would show up. I really did. I was like, okay, for whatever reason, the Browns defense does not play well on the road. And this was a home game. This is against the worst team in football. I was like, dude, they're going to shut Tony Pollard the fuck down. They're going to make Cam Ward look terrible. Like, this is going to be an ugly, ugly game for the Titans. Boy, was I mistaken. They ran it down our throats. They let him dink and dunk and fucking chip away with screen passes. And they shut it down. I mean, at one point in the fourth quarter, this is when we were getting ready to go to our cookie event. It was a 14-point lead. Titans were up by 14. I was like, this game's fucking over. So I text Tara, I'm like, hey, get her in the car. Let's leave. We can leave now. The game's over. So we start driving. They live downtown. So we're on the highway. We're getting there. I'm still watching the game on my phone. I wasn't going to not watch it. Tara was driving, mind you. But I'm watching the game, and I'm like, holy shit, touchdown. Go for 2. Shedeur fumbles a snap. Plays dead. Or 2-point conversion's dead. We didn't get it. And then I'm watching the game. I'm like, okay, shit, we're only down by 8. And Titans turn it over, punt, whatever. I forgot what happened. And Browns drive down and score a touchdown. I was like, holy shit. And then they ran that play with Quinshon Judkins that, of course, prisoners of the moment, everyone was bitching and saying, why would you run a play like that? But then if you actually watch the tape, the all-22, it was a good play call. It would have been probably a walk-in touchdown for Gage, or 2-point conversion for Gage Larvin had Quinshon Judkins not had a brain fart. It happens. Basically what happens, I don't want to get too detailed and technical with you guys. That's not what I do here. I like to do that in my spare time. But basically what happened was Quinshon Judkins was supposed to watch the safety. You watch the safety, or I'm sorry, the corner, the defensive back. You watch the corner, and if he follows Gage Larvin across his line, then you walk in for a touchdown or for the 2-point conversion attempt. If he stays, you pitch it. However, I'll give credit to the corner. The corner bit pretty hard, but then realized, oh, he's got the ball, and he stopped. And at that point, Quinshon turned around and was like, oh, fuck, Larvin's already passed me. What am I supposed to do? If I stay here, I'm done. I have to try to throw it across the field. It was a busted play. But the play call design was fine. And the funny thing to me is Kevin Stefanski gave up play calling during the bye week a month ago, and more than a month ago. And when Shedeur plays well and the offense plays well, like they did to get their 29 points on Sunday to make that comeback against the Titans, all credit goes to the players only. And then when there was a play call that the players fucked up, Quinshon Judkins, they go, fire Stefanski, what a horrible play call. He's sabotaging Shedeur Sanders. That's how dumb the fan base is. And it became a thing where after a couple of Shedeur games, I was online like arguing with people about it. And then I realized these are the dumbest people I've ever met. And I mean that wholeheartedly. this is where I was talking about earlier with I went on Threads, and again, Threads is all algorithm, so it's my own fault. I talked about Shedeur Sanders quite a bit, so now most of my feed just shows me Shedeur things, which is annoying. I don't want that. But one guy made a post, and I'm going to read it to you. I want it to be verbatim here, so I'm going to read it to you because I commented on it. I'll let you know what I commented here. Let me just find it. So he said, he said, because the Browns drafted Shedeur so late, he's not on a first-round contract. Correct. He was drafted in the 5th round, so he's not on a first-round contract. They literally have to re-sign him next year, and all the bargaining power is in his hands. First-round QB equals 4-year deal plus 5th-year team option. 5th-round QB equals 4-year deal only. So if Shedeur actually becomes the Browns' franchise quarterback, he's going to take them straight to the bank. And honestly, I don't blame him one bit. He could also test the market in a way that Lamar Jackson couldn't. So this guy's claiming that because Shedeur Sanders was taken in the 5th round, his 4-year contract ends after 1 year for some reason that he didn't explain in the text or the post. It's just stupidity. These people that love Shedeur are so fucking dumb, and I've come to the realization that most of the people out there defending Shedeur so much, like that aggressively, literally don't know a fucking thing about football. And from my perspective, that's fair. If you want to live your life and be that stupid and comment on things you don't know about, more power to you. So I just responded. I was going to type out a post about like how you're a fucking idiot. You know, he still has a 4-year contract. He's not a free agent for 4 years, hence the phrasing of 4-year contract. But I didn't. All I said was, you know what? It's December. This was, I think, yesterday. I posted it. I said, you know what? It's December 2025. I put, we have a late contender for the dumbest post of 2025. And I'm getting a lot of love on there from people for that comment. Because, again, not worth arguing about the Shedeur thing. People are just stupid. So I'm just letting the guy know that he's very dumb. But we are in a dangerous era, which is, it's not even dangerous. It's more so just annoying because the teams don't give a fuck about what the fans think. If you're online bitching about the Browns every single day, I have a lot of friends that I see every single week when the Browns lose, they post, oh, fire Stefanski, or there's people that constantly will tweet at fucking, what's his face, Jimmy, J.W. Johnson, Jimmy Haslam's son-in-law, and they're tweeting at these people as if they're going to read their posts and go, oh my God, you know what, you're so right. I didn't realize that. I didn't know the team's not been good over the last 2 years. Thank you for letting me know. Like, what are we doing? Why are you doing that? I don't know. But there's people that do it every fucking week. It's rinse and repeat. The Browns win, nothing. Not a peep. When they beat the Raiders, no one made posts. Browns lose to the, who did we play last week? And we lost to the Niners. They lose to the Niners. One guy posts, fire Stefanski. Then Browns lose to the Titans. Same thing. Fire Stefanski. It's so, I've said it a million times. It's a laziness from fans that just bitch about the coaches. If the team loses, their first thought is just fire the coach. And I get it. You're not going to fire the players. It's hard to get rid of players. And the owner's not going to fire himself. So I get it. You have to vent your frustration somewhere. But just blindly saying fire the coach has got to be one of the dumbest fucking things. Hate him or love him, I don't care. Kevin Stefanski is a 2-time coach of the year. I've defended the guy on the show a million times, and I will continue to defend him. And if they do fire him at the end of the season, I will be very upset about it. But it could happen. It's sports. It is what it is. He has had 2 bad seasons consecutively, but I do think this year was a planned tank, and it couldn't have been more obvious. And I don't understand how fans don't fucking see that. When they traded back in the first round last year, and they didn't address the quarterback until the 3rd round with Dylan Gabriel, who clearly is not a starting quarterback. I've said that from the beginning of when they drafted him. He was drafted to be a long-term backup for the Browns. He was not drafted to be the franchise guy. But there are fans out there that just can't grasp that. They can't wrap their head around it. Then they go, well, it was a wasted draft pick. Who needs a backup quarterback? I don't know. Look around the NFL. Look at how many backup quarterbacks have played this year and are playing this year. Look at how the Indianapolis Colts just had to sign Phillip Rivers, who's 44 years old, who has been retired for 4 years. They just had to sign him to come play for them this weekend because their quarterback situation is fucked. Because their backup, Anthony Richardson, broke his orbital bone warming up, apparently. He was using one of those large rubber bands, and it snapped him in the face, broke his face, and he's out. He's on the IR. Then their backup is Brett Ripken, I think. I don't even remember who the fuck their backup is. But their backup played on Sunday. He came in for Daniel Jones because, sorry, I didn't even tell this part. Daniel Jones tore his Achilles tendon on Sunday, so he's out for the year and for most of next year. Feel bad for him. He was having a good year, was about to get paid. Shit happens. But their backup situation is fucked. Their backup quarterback that had to come in for Daniel Jones, he got hurt. So again, they signed Phillip Rivers today. Phillip Rivers is 44. He's been retired since the end of the 2020 season. He played 1 year for the Colts. He still is. This is why they signed him, though. There's a lot of people out there that don't understand this. Phillip Rivers and Shane Steichen. Shane Steichen was Phillip Rivers' offensive coordinator when he was in Los Angeles towards the end. Shane Steichen and Phillip Rivers are still close friends. Phillip Rivers is the head coach of a high school football team. He runs the exact same offense the Indianapolis Colts and Shane Steichen run at his high school football. Will he be good? Doesn't look like it. If you saw him go to the podium today, he is out of shape. He was out of breath just from talking. Good luck against the Seahawks on Sunday. But anyway, that's why they had to sign Phillip Rivers, because the backup quarterback situation is pretty fucked up in the NFL. The Niners missed Brock Purdy for a chunk of games. What did they have to do? They had to go to their backup, Mac Jones. Mac Jones played really well. They're still in contention. Good for them. The Minnesota Vikings had to go with Carson Wentz a bunch because J.J. McCarthy got hurt. Carson Wentz got hurt. They had to go to their third-string quarterback who played against the Seahawks. If you're sensing a trend here, the Seahawks have faced horrible quarterbacks this year, by the way, and I'm going to die on that hill that I think the Seahawks are the most overrated team, and their record does not actually reflect who they are, but I'll talk about that another time. They had to face, I don't even remember his fucking name. He was a third-string quarterback making his first NFL start, and he was terrible because they were on to quarterback number 3. That's why the backup quarterback position is pretty fucking important in the NFL. Arizona Cardinals, they're playing with their backup quarterback, Jacoby Brissett. The New York Jets went to their backup quarterback, Tyrod Taylor. Then Tyrod Taylor got hurt. They were playing with their third quarterback. The Browns started with Joe Flacco, went to Gabriel. Gabriel got hurt. Had to go to your backup, Shedeur Sanders. You're sensing a trend. The Bengals, Joe Burrow gets hurt. Jake Browning comes in. Jake Browning stinks. They had to trade for another quarterback. Again, backup quarterbacks are so fucking important. New York Giants, they sign Russell Wilson. They sign Jameis Winston. They draft Jackson Dart. They've used all 3 of them this year. Backup quarterbacks are fucking important. I know there's Browns fans out there that don't want to hear it, but it's a very important position. And Dylan Gabriel is not a franchise quarterback, but he's a good enough quarterback that if he has to go out there and play a game for you, he's not going to turn the ball over. He's going to do what he can to keep you in a position to win. Will he go out there and give you a 2-minute drive at the end of the game down by 5 and win you the game? Probably not. But if you can get him a nice lead and the defense can do their job, he can win you a game. And that's all you want on your backup quarterback. Other people just don't understand that. They expect too much. But backup quarterback position is extremely important in the NFL. So that's why they took Dylan Gabriel. I digress. So, I forgot what started that whole rant, but I was talking about Shedeur and the fans and Stefanski and all that stuff. But we are tanking. That's what I was talking about, the tanking. When they traded back from the number 2 overall pick and did not take Travis Hunter, which I'm glad they didn't because you guys knew my stance on Travis Hunter, a guy who was good at 2 positions but not great at any of them, not worth a 2nd overall pick. So when you get a trade package like that from the Jags, you take it. Now, they traded back and they took a defensive tackle, a non-impact, not a sexy draft pick, but a very good player in Mason Graham. Not a franchise-altering, he technically, we'll talk about that later. He technically is if you really want to break it down, but he's a good enough player to build. You win in the trenches. So they took a defensive tackle. 2nd round, Carson Schlesinger, a linebacker, same thing. Not a guy that's going to go out there and you don't win games because of linebackers, not in this day and age. You did back in the day with Ray Lewis, etc., but not in this day and age. Then they take Quinshon Judkins, a running back. Running back's a good position, but also not a franchise-changing position. It's very rare that first-round running backs even get taken anymore because of how low value the NFL has on that position. Ashton Jeanty going top 5 or top 10 was bananas, in my opinion. Why you would take a position like that for a team who's in a rebuild, don't get me wrong. That's why the Raiders are getting the number 1 overall pick this year because they're garbage. But the Browns couldn't have made it more obvious that they were punting on this season. by not seriously addressing the quarterback situation in the offseason, by trading back to acquire picks for 2026 should also be an indicator. And that's throughout the season. That's from when they traded away Joe Flacco, when they traded away Joe Tryon, when they traded back for the Mason Graham trade. They've acquired a lot of picks for next year. Then, when you go to how they played this year, it was sophisticated tanking. Let's be honest. They drafted a bunch of young people. I'm not going to go through the whole draft class. You guys know the draft class, but Harold Fannin, they're developing. Dylan Sampson, they're developing. They benched Wyatt Teller a couple of weeks ago because they want to see what Tevin Jenkins can do. Ethan Posick, unfortunately for him, tore his Achilles on Sunday. He's probably done with the Browns. I mean, that's, again, a torn Achilles is a year-long recovery, and he's not a spring chicken. So Luke Whippler, it's your chance. You were a draft pick. Time to get some playing time and play. But again, these are all little things that and then the number one indicator for me that happened this offseason that should have told everybody and their fucking brother the Browns are not taking this year seriously was when Jimmy Haslam admitted that the Deshaun Watson trade was a swing and a miss. That right there should have told everybody right there. He's accepting responsibility. He's giving these guys a chance to retry. And that's that. If he really didn't want to keep these guys, he would have just fired them last year when they went 3-14. You clean house and you say Deshaun Watson sucks. We fucked up. Gone. We're starting over. My bad. He kept those guys. The only one he didn't keep was Paul DePodesta. Paul DePodesta left. Now that means to me, he's giving full reign to Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski. And I'm okay with that. I am more than okay with that. There it is. Head hiccup. Now, I tried to tell people about this for a long time. No one wanted to listen. The Browns were tanking. It sucks. It's annoying. I'm a Browns fan. I hate watching them lose, but I also get it. They are backed into a corner with the Deshaun Watson trade. It kind of fucked them up a little bit. They're working their way through it. Don't get me wrong. I mean, they're still managing to find good players. They're still managing to make cap space. They're still finding ways to, build an elite defense for the most part. Some weeks. But you draft a player like Mason Graham, who, again, is not a sexy pick. But what's happened since they took Mason Graham, who everybody hated at the time, for the most part? There was one clip of him throwing up at practice, and everyone's like, oh, what the fuck? They wasted a draft pick on this guy. Myles Garrett has 20 sacks, and we are at we're about to be at game 14. Or is it 14? Yeah, we have 4 games left. We're about to be at game 14. Myles Garrett has 20 sacks. The record is 22.5. So Myles Garrett is 3 sacks away in 4 games to break the NFL record for the most sacks from any player in a season in history. That starts with the guys they brought in. Mason Graham comes to mind. I always said, and don't get me wrong, this isn't a knock on TJ Watt. It's going to sound that way, but it's not a knock on TJ Watt. I've always said that TJ Watt is a product of his teammates, which I fully believe. When TJ Watt doesn't have Alex Highsmith or Cam Hayward out there, he's a ghost. Myles Garrett has essentially played by himself for his whole career. The Browns have never put together a good complementary defensive line. And Myles Garrett has won a Defensive Player of the Year. He's been dominant. TJ Watt, and I'm being dead serious, disappears when he's missing guys. Because he cleans up. When they're wreaking havoc, he's the guy who swoops around and cleans up. Myles Garrett gets double-teamed. There's clips from Sunday against the Titans. He was getting triple-teamed at one point. You don't see that about TJ Watt. He gets a couple double teams, a couple chips. Not impressed. But getting a guy like Mason Graham onto the field with Myles Garrett has led Myles Garrett to what is likely going to be a historical year with a record that we may never see get broken. So, pretty good pick for those of you out there that hate it. But the Browns were tanking. It is what it is. I'm sorry, Browns fans don't want to admit it. And for me, I want a quarterback. You guys should know that by now. I like Fernando Mendoza. I've been very honest about that. Since like week 2 of the college football season. I knew about Mendoza coming into the season. He played at Cal. I follow guys coming in. I just didn't think he'd get this kind of hype. I knew he was a good quarterback. I didn't think he'd take this step. If you look at his career trajectory, it's funny because the people out there that don't know anything about him, that just think they just learned about him a week ago. Fernando Mendoza was a good quarterback at Cal. If you look at his numbers and you see his progression, he got better every year. Then he transferred from Cal to Indiana, and he's made Indiana undefeated. And he's probably going to win the Heisman. It's going to be debatable. It's not a great year for like stats, but I mean, whatever. I don't personally give a fuck about Heisman. To me, that has nothing to do with drafting a quarterback. If they won a Heisman or not, I don't give a fuck. But I think he's been the best quarterback in college all year. He has the best team in college, and I would love for him to be Cleveland Brown. He reminds me of Bernie Kosar. I don't think a lot of people are putting that connection together. I see a lot of people that are trying to compare him to like, oh, he reminds me of Kirk Cousins because of how he talked on the microphone the other day. He's Bernie Kosar to me. Tall, kind of thin, lanky, not afraid to make some throws, kind of a dork. Bernie Kosar. Let's be honest, everybody. That's Bernie. And I don't mean that in a negative way. I'm just saying that those two seem very similar. Even to the point where my buddy and I were joking about how he could be Bernie's son. And we looked it up, and it's fucking bananas, by the way. Even though the game was in Arizona, the Ohio State-Miami national championship of what year, 2022, I think. Miami, the Hurricanes played Ohio State, and Bernie Kosar, of course, is a Miami U alumni, and Fernando Mendoza was born about 9 months after that game. So my buddy and I joked, and we were like, oh my God, did Bernie knock up some... And oh, by the way, Fernando Mendoza was born in Miami of Florida. So we joked and we said, did Bernie... Again, this is all just a joke. I don't want to get sued. We joked that Bernie knocked up some student from Miami on that trip, and she gave birth to Fernando Mendoza, and Fernando Mendoza is Bernie's bastard child. That's the joke we had. Again, not even allegedly, because I'm not claiming it to be true. It was just a joke. But the evidence is kind of there, if you want to get technical. But we just thought that was pretty funny. So I like Mendoza. I'm a big fan. Will the Browns be taking a quarterback? I don't know. There are fans out there that are obsessed with Shedeur Sanders, and mostly those are fans that don't know football. Let's break down his chart here, everybody. I'm going to expand my screen just so I can see it a little bit clearer. Yes. Shedeur Sanders threw for 364 yards technically. 3 touchdowns, 1 interception, ran for 1 touchdown. I think he had 29 rushing yards or 24 rushing yards, whatever the fuck. 23 of 42, so right around his 50% mark, which is fitting, or on par, I should say. But then if you take a look here, so those green dots are completions. He had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of his 23, basically 33% of his passes. Didn't even make it past the line of scrimmage. That's okay, not knocking it. Then he had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 passes that didn't go 5 yards past the line of scrimmage. So right now we're at 12 of 23 completions, more than 50%. Didn't go 5 yards or more. Then he had 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll just count that one. We'll say 5. 5 more passes that went 10 yards. I'm sorry, 6. I missed the touchdown over there. 6. So 6 passes. That's 18 of 23 passes. Didn't go 10 yards in the air. Then, okay, we'll get better here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wait, my math got fucked up. What am I looking at? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, where did I fuck up my math? That's not right. 16 and 5. Or no, 18 and 5 is 23. I'm fucking stupid. I was thinking 16. So there's your 23. Those were actual passes that went further than 10 yards. But overall, he had 260 yards of yards after the catch. That means he basically had 100 yards of air passing. That's not a lot. I'm not saying he needs to do that every week. I'm not trying to get too technical of like, does Shedeur Sanders needs to chuck the ball down the field every single game. But this check down shit didn't even work against the Tennessee Titans. It wasn't enough to beat the Tennessee Titans. You think this is going to work against a team like the Bears, who have a pretty good defense, who lead the league in takeaways? You think this is going to work against a team like the Steelers, who are going to eat that shit for breakfast? They're not even a good defense, but you think this is going to work against the Bills? Odds are no. We'll see. Maybe Shedeur blows me away. But so far, in the 3.5 games he has played, I am not interested in this guy as our quarterback next year. And again, the drama that comes with him, he is not talented enough for me to put up with the drama that I've been seeing and for the bullshit that I see. And the people that every fucking week are bitching about how this guy needs to be fired, and they hate Dylan Gabriel for some reason just because Shedeur is playing. Last week, apparently, after the who did we play? The Niners. After the Niners game, Dylan Gabriel's girlfriend supposedly made a TikTok video, and the caption said something like, "Browns lose again. Go, what else is new?" or something like that. She's not wrong, but she made that post. So of course, Shedeur fans went in there bitching about her husband or boyfriend, husband. I think they're engaged. I don't know. I don't give a fuck. But then they're talking about that, and then people are trying to act like that's a fucking story. And I was arguing with people on Twitter. Again, I broke my own rule. I didn't even argue. I just told the guy, I'm like, dude, nobody gives a fuck about this. And he's like, you're crazy. This is going to be a huge story. I'm like, honestly, I don't think so. Like, dude, we're most grown men don't give a fuck about TikTok. And sure enough, that story got swept under the rug pretty quickly because no self-respecting adults give a fuck about what other people are doing on TikTok. I don't know. That's just me. I don't use the app that often. I make my Buzzball video and I don't open it again, except for commenting to people on my Buzzball video. I don't scroll TikTok. I hate videos on my phone. I never want the sound on. So like those apps that do videos, not for me. Facebook Reels or Instagram Reels, whatever the fuck they're called, not for me. TikTok, not for me. I like no sound. I just want to scroll. I want to look at shit. If I can watch a video with no sound because it's cool looking, perfect. I don't want to hear anything. So TikTok's not for me. But so she made a post and it said like the Browns win, whatever, or Browns lose again, go figure, what else is new, whatever the fuck. Someone comments on there about her husband being, what did one guy say? He basically said like, oh, boo-hoo, your little husband took a little shot, had a little headache and had to miss the game. Like, first off, you got a guy making fun of your fiance, husband, boyfriend, whatever, and downplaying his concussion, which for anybody with a brain out there, you know that head injuries are pretty fucking serious. And for him to say, "Oh, your little man got a little headache and had to come out of the game," whatever, he was down. He was shitting on Dylan Gabriel. So of course his significant other is going to defend him, and she basically said that like, "Oh, that's why everyone in the locker room wants him to be playing right now," or something like that. And of course, again, it blew up for a millisecond on social media until I looked at it and I went, "It's TikTok. I don't give a fuck." So I moved on with my life, and I think it kind of, like I said, it's a dead story. But Shedeur Sanders threw for 364 yards. Technically, 260 of them were yak, and you can see here that 7 passes didn't even cross the line of scrimmage. Lots of checkdowns, lots of screens. Just not an impressive quarterbacking day. And again, you did it against the Tennessee Titans, who were not really afraid of you throwing the ball. We were down by 14 at one point. So for people that act like Shedeur had this great game from start to finish, he sucked. We got into a deficit. He threw a bad interception. There were drives that just stalled. You know, you can look at the stats all day, but when you fuck up a drive, this is the other thing I always see people say. They're always like, defense let you down. Defense and special teams. Shedeur, you did nothing wrong. Okay, so when we go 3 and out, or we don't convert a third down, we have to punt because Shedeur made a bad read, took a sack, whatever. That's on him. When you have to give the ball back to the Titans, you can blame the defense for giving up a score, sure, but the only reason they got the ball back was because the offense didn't come through. That's fair. 2 things can be true. You're allowed to say that. And then he had that horrible interception. He overthrew it. You can see that red dot way back there. He didn't have his feet set. He chucked the ball down the field. They picked it off, and then they came down and scored on that drive. So, again, you can blame the defense, but the defense didn't have a lot of chance because he threw an interception. So I don't even remember what happened on the drive beforehand. Maybe they made a stop. Maybe they didn't. I don't remember. But the defense was out on the field getting tired. They go to the bench to kind of take a breath. Shedeur turns it over. Defense has to go right back out. They score. I'm not making excuses for the defense, but that's just fact. They have to go right back onto the field, defend. They gave up a score because of Shedeur's interception. Those are points off turnovers. That's a stat in the NBA. It's a stat in football. They scored off a turnover because Shedeur made a bad play. So all those things can be true. And again, the Titans are the worst team in football. It's not even comparable. They were a one-win team, the only one-win team in the league. They were awful. They were on their way to another back-to-back number one overall pick. They fired their coach. Number one overall pick, Cam Ward, has not looked good, in my opinion. They look like a really bad football team. They came in and ran it down our throat. Their defense for a lot of the first half shut Shedeur down. And then in the second half, we made a big comeback. Shedeur got a ton of yards. A couple plays he had a one of those green dots over there on the right was from Quinshon Judkins catching a screen pass behind the line of scrimmage. Just a little screen dump off. He took it 60 yards. That's 60 of his 360 yards from a screen play, a dump off. Jerry Jeudy, one of the touchdowns. I think it's the very first blue line. If you're looking from the middle to the left, the very first one you'll see there. It was a good pass. I'm not knocking it, but Jerry Jeudy was wide open. He had so much separation. There was no one around him. He caught the ball. He ran it in for a touchdown. Most NFL quarterbacks should be able to make that throw. His touchdown to David Njoku was a great pass. That one I'll give Shedeur 1,000% credit. That was a beautiful ball. David Njoku dove, caught it, fell to the ground, touchdown, beautiful. His touchdown to Harold Fannin was an underthrow. It was a great catch by Harold Fannin, but if the defender would have turned around, could have been an interception, easy. That one was a bit of an underthrow, but it was still caught for a touchdown, so I'm not taking it away, but that wasn't a good throw. It was a really good catch. And then he ran in for a touchdown, but then we went for two, which, another thing, casual ass Browns fans, or football fans in general, I should say, casual fans just go, why would you go for two? It's so common in the NFL nowadays that if you're down by 14 late, you go for two because you're playing for the win. The way they look at it, analytically speaking, is if we get the two here and then we score later, an extra point wins the game. We win. And if you don't get the two and you score later, you go for two to tie the game. You're never out of it. So I'm okay with it. Because what if, God forbid, we attempt the extra point? It was a cold, windy day. Let's say Andre Schmidt, who's actually been really solid, but let's say Andre Schmidt misses the extra point. Then you're down by 8 no matter what. Why not go for the 2 then? Take that chance. I'm more confident in going for 2 from the 2-yard line than I am with an extra point kick in that weather, to be honest. So I liked the call. I'm never going to complain about that call. But again, casual, really stupid fans will. And that's fine. I've come to accept it. So Shedeur, 3.5 starts. For me, I'm not sold. He's not a guy you bring back to be your starter. The other thing, again, as I mentioned earlier, is the rumors and the rumbling of possibly getting rid of Kevin Stefanski. I don't think these Shedeur people understand that if they get rid of Kevin Stefanski, a new coach is probably not going to come in and stake his job on Shedeur Sanders, a 5th-round pick. So if you get rid of Kevin Stefanski, you're probably getting rid of you're losing Shedeur Sanders too. And if you like Jim Schwartz on defense, which a lot of people do, you're probably losing him too if you get rid of Stefanski. I don't think fans really understand this. I don't know. I don't know what it is. For me, this is the first real threat of a regime change since I've been heavily on social media to see other people's reactions. I mean, we fired Hugh Jackson, but that's Hugh gives a fuck. You know what I mean? Freddie Kitchens, same thing. You know what I mean? Like, I've been through some firings in my day with social media and everything, and none of them mattered. Hugh Jackson sucked. He was a dead man walking. The teams were terrible. I'm trying to think of who else. Then we went to Freddie Kitchens. That was a nightmare. Like, you know, all these little things, none of those mattered. The Kevin Stefanski, I like him. 2-time coach of the year, taking us to the playoffs twice. Fans don't want to give him any credit. They say, oh, that's a participation trophy that he has a Coach of the Year award. But, I mean, I think it's pretty fucking great, in my opinion. Oh, we got a comment. Sorry, I was looking at something. Best game of any rookie quarterback this year. He earned a shot, get O-line, and get wide receivers. Yeah, you know, that's great, Todd. Not saying much. The 2025 quarterback class was dog shit. So he played better than Cam Ward, who I think sucks. And he played better than Jackson Dart, who I think sucks. You know, Will Howard, not a franchise quarterback. Who gives a shit about him? Quinn Ewers. You know, this is a shitty quarterback class, so it doesn't matter. Here's a fun fact. I'll read this. I don't have the picture for you guys to put up on the screen, but I'll read you guys a stat here. That's funny if you want to talk about rookie quarterbacks. Where was it? I sent it today. Yeah, here it is. Okay. Most passing yards in a game by a non-first-round rookie quarterback in NFL history. We have number one, Mr. Jake Plummer, with 388 yards when he played for the Cardinals in 1997. Jake Plummer, you guys know him, the Hall of Fame quarterback. Psych. Nick Foles, 381 yards in December of 2012. You know Nick Foles, the Hall of Fame quarterback, right? Gardner Minshew, 374 yards, 2019. Another one, Hall of Famer, right, with his mustache. The Red Rocket comes in at number 4, 373 yards. Andy Dalton. Steve Grogan, 365 yards back in 1975. And then our boy Shedeur, number 6 overall for non-first-round picks, 364 yards. Then Jack Trudeau, Tony Banks, Billy Joel Tolliver, and Dennis Shaw round out the top 10. Now, if you out there know any of those quarterbacks, fucking kudos to you because you know a lot of football. But that is not a great list of company to be a part of. So I'm not saying bench Shedeur Sanders. He can play for the rest of the year. I don't give a shit. I mean, I think by playing Shedeur, you're only helping yourself lose out, which is great because we play the Bears, we play the Bills, we play the Steelers, we play the Bengals. Real good shot of going 0-4. So I'm all for that. What is she sending me? My wife is sending me pictures of delicious-looking beverages, to be honest. So I had to ask her where that's from. But yeah, not taking it away. Kudos. You know, he had the best game of any rookie quarterback. By best game, he threw for 50%, which is dog shit. His career completion percentage is 50%. He's played in 3.5 games. It's 50%. His completion percentage. It's terrible. That's not good in the NFL. His touchdown interception ratio is like, I don't know, I'd have to look it up right now. He's like, I don't know, 5 touchdowns and 3 interceptions or something like that, which is close to 500. Again, not that impressive. He's taken some sacks. He had some really stupid plays against the Niners. He ran for 5 yards on a 4th and 26. He didn't even give his team a shot. He just ran for 5 yards and slid. That's stupid. He took a sack on a 4th down against the Niners, which was funny because when Dylan Gabriel did that in a game, everyone posted screenshots of how bad Dylan Gabriel is. How do you take a sack on 4th down, blah, blah, blah. Shedeur did it, and everyone was like, oh, well, get him a wide receiver. Get him an O-line and wide receivers. That's the big thing. The blind statement of get wide receivers and O-line. That's all anybody says. Who? I don't want to get too deep into draft talk yet because it's fucking December, but the offensive lineman class in 2026 is garbage. So who the fuck are you going to get him? Caden Proctor, the fat ass left tackle who is more than likely going to have to play guard in the NFL because he's really fat. He's not a tackle. He's not athletic enough to be a tackle. Or Fanu, the right tackle, who is not very good. You want to spend a top 10 pick on a not good right tackle? Okay, that's your prerogative. Miyagu, however you say his name, the other guy from Miami, same thing. Probably going to move to guard in the NFL. You want to spend a top 10 draft pick on a guard? Wide receiver. Who are these wide receivers coming out next year that are great? Carnell Tate's a good wide receiver. Carnell Tate is not even close to being a great wide receiver from Ohio State. We've had better ones. We've had Marvin Harrison Jr., who's a better wide receiver. Obviously, Jeremiah Smith is a much better wide receiver. Emeka Buka is probably better than Carnell Tate, all things considered. Jackson Smith and Jigba, much better than Carnell Tate. But because Browns fans are also Ohio State fans, they're literally going, take Carnell Tate, top 5. You just have Buckeye blinders on. You guys don't actually understand football, and you don't actually know scouting. He's a good wide receiver. He's not worth a pick that high. So just blindly saying take a wide receiver and offensive lineman is not how the NFL works. You draft based on your list, your best player available, your board, they call it. You stick to your board. You just draft the best player available when you're drafting top 5, which the Browns will be doing. So for me, if you want my grade on Shedeur Sanders, I give him a solid D for his career. Again, the 50% completion percentage, defenses aren't afraid of him at all. He had a career game against the Tennessee Titans with a bunch of checkdowns and screens. Not impressive to me. I know Browns fans out there are just desperate for a good quarterback. I get it. You have a bad taste in your mouth from Deshaun Watson. You have a bad taste in your mouth from Dylan Gabriel, probably, and you're just desperate for somebody. So you're clinging to Shedeur Sanders, who, mind you, is technically 1-3. I'm giving him the loss against the Ravens. And I don't give a fuck if he came in at halftime with no reps and they didn't know his cadence and all that stupid bullshit that people wanted to cry about. It's the NFL. Your job as a backup is to be ready. You prepare like you're the starter because you never know when your name's going to be called. That's how you're supposed to do it. He didn't do that, clearly. That's why he wasn't getting playing time in the season, and that's why he looked like complete dog shit against the Ravens. But he came into that Ravens game with a lead. They literally handed him the keys and said, hey, go out there and win us this game. Don't do anything to fuck it up. What did he do? He went out there and fucked it up. He was terrible. He was 4 of 16 with an interception. He cost us the game. Then he went out against the Raiders. Played fine. Bunch of screen passes. Defense shut down Geno Smith and the Raiders, which isn't hard to do. Get the win. Cool. Got a W. Not really that much more exciting than when Dylan Gabriel beat the Dolphins. Let's be honest. Then he goes against the Niners. Gets embarrassed. The Niners shut him down. Then you go up against the Titans. Same thing. You let the Titans kind of manhandle you for a while. Then finally, once they have a 14-point lead, you decide to wake up and start actually trying. And too little, too late. You lose to the Tennessee Titans. So you're 1-3. And even if you want to say 1-2, that's fine. I'll listen to that. But that's not good. That's not good at all. But again, when Dylan Gabriel wins a game, all anybody does is say, oh, it's the Dolphins. Who cares? They didn't even, we ran the ball a lot. The defense did this. The defense did that. When Shedeur beats the Raiders, it's, we have our franchise quarterback. Then he goes out the next week and we lose 2 in a row. And everyone just blames everybody else. Well, it was the defense's fault. It was Kevin Stefanski's fault. No, it wasn't Shedeur's fault. Shedeur's perfect. He's great. He's 1-2. He's a fucking loser. If you hate Dylan Gabriel for being a loser, then you should hate Shedeur Sanders for being a loser. Shedeur Sanders is throwing 50%. That's pathetic. As an NFL quarterback, I am all in for a quarterback in the 2026 draft class. I love Fernando Mendoza. You guys know where I stand. I'm really, really, really worried, though, that we're not going to get him because of the Raiders being in front of us. Raiders are a guarantee to take a quarterback next year, but we'll see what happens. The Raiders do have an interesting schedule. I think they do play the Giants at one point this season, which they could upset the Giants. They play the Eagles this weekend, which is going to be a tough task because they also went with old Kenny Two Gloves. They're going with Kenny Pickett at quarterback. Geno Smith is injured, so they are officially moving to Kenny Pickett. So we have to hope and pray, Browns fans, that Kenny Pickett goes out there and wins the Raiders a game or two to get them out of the number 1 overall pick. Technically, I think they only have 2 wins this year, so they would need at least 2 because the Browns beat them. So they have the head-to-head tiebreaker. It's not good. We need to get the number 1 pick, Cleveland. Let's do it. Let's get our quarterback, and let's never look back. But again, for all you fans out there that hate Kevin Stefanski and think Kevin Stefanski is sabotaging Shedeur Sanders, who is the coach working with Shedeur Sanders? If you think Shedeur Sanders had such a great game that he's a franchise quarterback, the guy that helped him get to that is the guy you want fired. So again, if a new regime comes in, a new general manager, a new head coach, they may not like Shedeur. They might literally walk in and go, no, I don't want this guy. Get rid of him right now. I don't want the fucking drama, especially a rookie head coach. You think some rookie coordinator, some young guy's going to come in here and want to deal with that bullshit? To get questioned every week about how many reps Shedeur got and, any dumb thing that might happen. And, maybe he grew up last year getting the speeding tickets, doing stupid shit. His dad's in the news. Like, it's a headache. He's not good enough to deal with that headache. There's going to be a new coach coming in if they fire Stefanski, who's probably going to go, I'm not fucking dealing with him. Get him off my team now. Get whatever draft pick you can get. So that's the funny thing for the Shedeur fans out there they don't understand is that if you want to push away Stefanski, you're pushing away Shedeur Sanders more than likely. And you're pushing away Jim Schwartz, where the Browns have a good defense right now. But, Browns fans don't think that logically. They're in the moment thinkers. They're prisoners of the moment. They freak out. They have too much emotions about wins and losses and games, and they can't think logically about things. The Browns are tanking. This season is a tank job. If you didn't know that going into it and you didn't understand it, that's not my fault that you were so fucking naive. Vegas had them at 4 wins, I think, as their over-under. They're currently at 3. So Vegas was pretty much right on par because they should have beat the Titans, let's be honest. It's embarrassing that they didn't beat the Titans, but 4 wins from Vegas. Browns should have about 4 wins right now. And there's fans out there that are pissed that they didn't win more games. The fuck do you expect, guys? What did you really think looking at this roster? What did you really think was going to kind of happen? Are you guys fucking stupid? It's a rhetorical question. But anyway, That's my stance on Shedeur Sanders. I've seen enough in 3.5 games to know that I just think he's maybe a good backup, but he's the type of guy, because of his persona, because of the baggage that he comes with, he either needs to be great or he's not going to be around. That's it. There's no middle ground. There's no, well, we'll keep him around, because what's going to happen is if you draft a rookie quarterback and you say, hey, Shedeur's going to be our backup, the minute that rookie throws an interception, Shedeur should be out there. This is racist. This is bullshit. Teams aren't going to put up with that. These fans that think they're helping his case and helping his career are actually going to be the ones that are going to push him out of the NFL. And it's a shame. He seems like a nice kid, but that's just the reality of it. When you have a person whose celebrity is bigger than their game, people don't want to put up with that shit, especially in the NFL. The NFL is the one league where the inmates do not run the asylum. The NBA, you can get away with that shit. Major League Baseball, you can get away with that shit. NFL, no, they don't put up with that. So we'll see what happens. But for right now, I've seen enough of Shedeur Sanders, and I think this Sunday is going to be a real test for not only him, but for, the whole team. Browns notes. Okay, what do we got? I didn't even know Georgia did this. Browns notes, Miles sack record. I talked about that already. Injuries, as I said, Jerome Ford, IR. Ethan Posick, IR. Jack Conklin, he suffered a concussion against the Niners, and there's fans out there that are talking shit. But the funny thing is, or not funny thing, the fucked up thing, as I mentioned earlier, about the guy that was making fun of Dylan Gabriel's concussion. Concussions are serious. CTE is a real thing. It's caused guys that, you wouldn't expect to do something crazy to go fucking ballistic. Antonio Brown, prime example of somebody that clearly has head issues or mental issues because of head injuries, probably because their personality changed after they took a terrible hit. And Jack Conklin has suffered multiple concussions this season, which is very dangerous in football if a guy has more than one concussion in a few weeks, and that happened to Jack Conklin. So I'm worried that he's got like a serious head injury. And I mean, don't get me wrong, he'll probably never play for the Browns again, but still, just as a person, you hope for the best. Last week, we didn't do a show because of Kyle's injury, but Deshaun Watson was he was at his 21-day practice window was activated by the Cleveland Browns. I think he's currently in like day 8 of that practice window. I don't expect him to play this year. So we'll see. Browns are going to get their insurance money from that, which, again, stupid Browns fans don't realize when they go, oh, they have no cap space. They can't spend any money. They're about to get $40 million in insurance money directly out of the cap because of Watson. Rookies rising quickly. That's true. Quinshon Judkins, at least in the screen game, his run game has been terrible lately, but screen-wise, he's looked pretty good. And then Dylan Sampson's had some big plays. We've had Harold Fannin was a stud last week. He had 7 catches for 118 yards and a touchdown or something like that, looking great. So good stuff all around for the Browns and their future. Let's get that. All right. Latest updates around the NFL. As I already mentioned most of these earlier, Daniel Jones tore his Achilles. That's a brutal injury for the Colts, who traded away their future for Sauce Gardner because they were in win now mode. And then their quarterback, who's having a career year, tears his Achilles. Their season is all but fucked. They sign Phillip Rivers, which is crazy to think about. But they're going with a 44-year-old chubby grandpa at quarterback on Sunday with Phillip Rivers. Off the top of my head, honestly, I don't even remember what happened in the NFL newsworthy. Other than that, that's kind of like the only relevant topic. But we'll get into recap of the picks from last week, or the scores for last week. I'm sorry. I'm not going to do the week before with Thanksgiving week because we're already 2 weeks behind, so I'm not going to recap that. But last Thursday night, the Lions beat the Cowboys 44-30 in a fun one. Titans obviously beat the Browns 31-29. Dolphins beat up on the Jets 34-10. Steelers hold off the Ravens 27-22. Saints beat the Buccaneers. Baker Mayfield was god-awful because reality set in for him. Jaguars beat up on the Colts after Danny Dimes goes down 36-19. Vikings shut out the Commanders 31-0. Seahawks beat up on the Falcons 37-9. Bills win a fun snow globe game 39-34 against the Cincinnati Bengals. Broncos. This is an irritating one for me as a guy who last week when we do our picks, I picked the Broncos minus 7.5. I thought, they'll blow out the fucking Raiders. And they did until the end when Pete Carroll decides to kick a field goal. He's down 10. Mind you, it's 24-14 with 4 seconds left on the clock. He kicks a field goal for time to expire. What the fuck was the point of that, Pete? Other than a backdoor cover. How the FBI hasn't arrested Pete Carroll by now? Mind-boggling. But the Broncos hold on to win 24-17 with that heroic 3-point field goal down by 10 with time expiring. I don't understand the thought process on that, but I'm also not a geriatric like Pete Carroll. Packers beat the Bears 28-21. Caleb Williams throws a costly interception right at the end of the game there. Rams win 45-17 against the Cardinals. They beat the hell out of them. Texans beat the Chiefs 20-10. The Chiefs season is likely over. They're probably not even going to make the playoffs. That is a weird thing to say out loud. Eagles lose to the Chargers 22-19 in overtime on Monday Night Football. That is your week that was for football. Currently, the draft order sits like this. Let's have a look. Giants, Raiders, Titans, 1, 2, 3, 2 wins. Giants and Raiders play each other in a couple of weeks. So that's going to change. However, strength of schedule, it would have to go for the Giants, but the Browns beat the Raiders head-to-head. So we're going to have to root for some teams. Root for some teams to win. I'm rooting for the Raiders. I'm rooting for the Giants. I'm rooting for the Titans for the rest of the season. Big time. Everybody else behind us, don't give a fuck. But everybody ahead of us, win, win, win. Just win, baby. I think if the Giants hold on to the number 1 pick, or if the Titans somehow get back into the first overall pick, they will trade. Obviously, they have their quarterback, so they think. The Raiders are in the market for a quarterback big time. So the Raiders will be the one team that if they get that number 1 pick, they're not moving. I don't think there's enough trade packages in the world that's going to get you to jump the Raiders or get the Raiders to move. I'm sorry. So that's currently what the order is. Obviously, it's subject to change, and change it will, because again, 2 teams play each other. George put together a nice little picture here for the Cavaliers. He put up the rankings or the standings. I'm sorry. I don't care about the standings, to be honest. It's fucking December. I'm more so concerned about how the Cavs have been playing and how they've been playing terribly. But I also am realistic, and this is the funny thing that no one's mentioning about the Cavaliers. They're pretty fucking banged up. They have been without Jared Allen. They've been without Max Strus, obviously, for the whole season. They've been without Sam Merrill for weeks. They are without Darius Garland for multiple games at a time because of his toe injury. Lonzo Ball doesn't play on back-to-backs. So if you have a back-to-back, which the Cavs have had a ton of those this year, you have no Lonzo Ball. So not only are you already shorthanded, if you have to play a back-to-back, one of those nights, you're even more shorthanded because one guy can't do it. So don't get me wrong, 14-11 is terrible. They're losing games they shouldn't. They lost to basically the G League team of the Golden State Warriors the other night. Pretty unacceptable in my opinion. But supposedly they held a players-only meeting, which is never good in a season, let's be honest. They held a players-only meeting the other day, and they technically have about a week off because of the play-in bracket. So the Cavs played Saturday night. They played the Golden State Warriors. They were off Sunday. They were off Monday. Tuesday was the Eastern Conference Emirates Cup tournament. Cavs are not in it because they suck. So they didn't play. Tonight is the Western Conference side. Cavs are not in that, obviously. Thursday night basketball tomorrow night. Cavs don't have a game. Cavs play the Wizards on Friday. So the Cavs basically got a full week off to get healthy, to get their shit together, and they get to start off against arguably the worst team in basketball because let's have a gander again at that box, or the you don't even see them. They're so low, you don't even see the Washington Wizards down there. Oh no, there they are. Sorry, my screen's because I'm hosting right now, so my screen doesn't show me. But the Wizards are down there. Or no shit. They're below the Nets. I don't know. Maybe you can see them. I don't know. Yeah, they're the 14th ranked team. Let's just put it that way. I was trying to show you a visual, but I can't get this fucking thing to work. So whatever. I digress. I'm trying to run the ship. I don't know what I'm doing here. Damn it, George. I'm just kidding. It's fine. But yeah, the Cavs are sucking right now. They're hurt. I'm not going to read too much into it. I'm obviously a little concerned, though, because, every loss, even though it's early, it's going to catch up to you in the end. If you come down to the last couple of weeks of the season and you're like, fuck, we're 3 games behind this team, and had we have beaten the Warriors in December, we'd be only 2 games. You know what I mean? Like little things like that you start thinking about. You're like, should have won those fucking games back then. We really fucked up. But overcome. No excuses. Baseball, there are some people on the move. The trumpet man, Edwin Diaz, he has left the New York Mets to go figure, the Dodgers. They backed up the Brinks truck because they have unlimited money, and they gave him the bag, and he is their new closer. Now, don't even have a graphic for this because it just happened today. I don't even know the value of the deal, but Pete, Big Meat Pete, as my friends that are Mets fans used to call him because he is no longer a Met, Pete Alonso has officially signed with the Baltimore Orioles. So he is gone, and if you're a Guardians fan that thought you had a chance in hell at landing Pete Alonso, no, you don't. He's gone. He signed with the Orioles. And not only did the Mets lose those two players, there are heavy rumors going around right now, that Francisco Lindor hates Juan Soto. And Francisco Lindor has requested a trade from the New York Mets. He wants to play with the Padres. So he will be probably getting dealt. We'll see what happens. Those are some early rumors happening right now. We'll see if they come to fruition. I don't know. Next up, a little college football talk for you. Let's first and foremost, we're going to recap. Ohio State beat the shit out of Michigan. Michigan had the upper hand on Ohio State for the last couple of years, and that has since come to pass. The other thing, too, that happened with Michigan, Sherrod Moore, the head coach who took over for Harbaugh, he was just fired 3 hours ago, give or take, for cause. What's that cause about? Rumors are circulating. He was cheating on his wife with a colleague, which is illegal, or not illegal, but which is frowned upon and grounds for termination. Knocked her up, got her pregnant. He got one of his coworkers pregnant, or assistants, whatever the fuck she was. She was some young blonde girl, I don't know. But apparently he was cheating on his wife with her, knocked her up. It all got busted. They were trying to cover it up forever, but it all leaked. And Michigan's pretty fucked on that one because they had to fire their coach. But at the same time, recruiting season just ended. Like the recruits just announced their signing day, and they now just fired their coach. They're going to have to find a replacement, which is not easy because most of the good candidates have already gotten hired elsewhere. And I don't know, it couldn't happen to a better school. Pretty funny, in my opinion. I'm laughing about it. So that was exciting to read that little nugget. George did get one thing wrong. I thought so. Yeah, Ohio State's second, or they're the 2 seed. It says Ohio State 3, but I don't think that's right. So I don't know. I digress. I had to look that up. It was bothering me. Come on, George, get it right. But Indiana did beat Ohio State in the Big Ten championship game on Saturday evening. 13-10, low-scoring game, defensive battle. Indiana's defense is really good. Julian Sand looked like a freshman. Fernando Mendoza looked good. He had a touchdown and an interception, and he looked fine. Again, 13 points against the best defense in football, arguably, college football. And he did what he needed to do. On some key third downs, he made big passes. He extended drives. It's really what you can ask for. Again, for me, I'm sold on Fernando Mendoza. I really like the kid. But again, be realistic. If Fernando Mendoza goes to the Las Vegas Raiders, who I think are just an abysmal franchise with no hope, and he goes there and he sucks, you can't come back at me and be like, oh, you said Mendoza was going to be good. That could be one of those situations like a Sam Darnold, like a Mac Jones, these guys that go to other teams and they have some success elsewhere because maybe it's about situations. I think if Fernando Mendoza gets drafted by the Jets or the Raiders, he's probably going to have a bad career, at least to start with those teams. Those teams are really fucking bad. If you look at the Raiders, that's the other thing. People they only look at the Browns. The Raiders have a terrible offensive line. The Raiders have no weapons outside of Brock Bowers and Ashton Genty. Their defense is pretty shitty. They have a lot of holes. So if you think just drafting Fernando Mendoza is going to turn your team around in a year, not the case. So again, if Mendoza goes and struggles in his first year, kind of expect it if he becomes a Raider. I'm not gonna let people point fingers at me and go, "Oh, you were fucking wrong." Let it play out. It could happen in Cleveland. Let's say the Cleveland Browns get him, and let's say the Cleveland Browns don't address certain positions, and you expect him to go out there and be a savior. It could very well go poorly. Not saying it can't. But Ohio State loses to Indiana on Saturday, so they, of course, move to the 2 seed. They do not win the Big Ten. That goes to Indiana. Indiana jumps to number 1. They were flipping champions, as Fernando Mendoza said. So, yeah, you've got Miami against Oklahoma. You've got JMU against Oregon. You've got Notre Dame. That's not right. Notre Dame didn't make it. What the fuck did George give me? Oh, he gave me predictions. That's why I'm so fucking confused. Okay, so George fucked this up a little bit. All right. Sorry, everybody. All right, we have Alabama taking on Oklahoma. Yeah, what the fuck? This is all wrong. Alabama taking on Oklahoma as the 9 and the 8 seeds. We have Miami and Texas A&M, the 10 and the 7 seeds. We have Tulane and Ole Miss. That's accurate, 11 and 6. And then we have James Madison and Oregon at 12 and 5. So, yeah, what the fuck? What is George doing? That's not even close. I'm like, wait, Notre Dame? You're killing me, George. He gave me a predictions bracket. So that's why it was wrong. That makes sense. Okay, so yes, you have Alabama against Oklahoma, the 9 and 8 seed, so they will be up on the left. You have James Madison and Oregon, the 12 and 5 seed down there at the bottom left. That is accurate. Then you have Tulane and Ole Miss, bottom right, 11 and 6. That is accurate. And then in the upper right, you have Miami and Texas A&M, 10 and 7. So replace Miami with Notre Dame, and then put Alabama in there at number 9, and you're good. So George had me all confused. And then you have the 1 seed of Indiana. The 2 seed is Ohio State. And the 3 seed, I think, is, let me check, Georgia. Yes, and 4 is Texas Tech. Okay, so we got it all squared away. Blunder. A blunder by George. I'm just kidding. Oh, I have a comment. I was full screen in there. He was just arrested 30 minutes ago. Who? Moore? He got arrested for banging.
Yes, Moore has just
headphones on.
He turned himself in.
I had nobody to talk to. I had nobody to listen to.
Yeah, sorry about that. It's like, hey, it's a whole
Can you
bunch
hear me?
of. Yep, I can hear you.
Say again.
I said, yes, I can hear you.
Oh, you know what? I have to go into the settings here. Give me a second. Maybe that's why. Audio. There we go. Talk to me, Georgie.
Yeah, it has
Now I can
just
hear ya.
come through about 30 minutes ago. He had the city of Saline Police Department assisted in locating and detaining the former University of Michigan football coach Sharon Moore. Mr. Moore was turned over to the Pittsfield Township Police Department for investigation into potential charges.
Interesting.
So sounds like there's going to be a little bit more. I'm sorry. I believe that is the bracket you're looking for.
That's the ticket there, George. Yeah, I'm reading the other one. I'm like, what the hell? Bracket has Notre Dame in it. Yeah, that's accurate. That looks good there.
Yeah. My apologies. As I was racing to get a lot done this afternoon.
The second I opened it up, I saw Ohio State 3, and I'm like, that doesn't sound right. So I'm like, let me check. I'm like, okay, Ohio State's 2, whatever. 2 and 3, don't give a shit. Then I look, I'm like, Notre Dame, what the fuck?
Yeah,
like, it's a big deal. They weren't in the play.
Yeah, when I saw that, I was just, I'm sitting here and I went, son of a. But
then
yes,
bottom, and it said predictions, and I went, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, but to just update you with the it's Denton, Michigan coaches thing, that's gonna get ugly pretty quickly, I believe.
Couldn't happen to a better school.
Adam Wissinger will just be ostriching for the next couple of days, I think.
No, he'll have a bunch of excuses. He likes to make excuses. He'll go, oh, well, you remember when Ohio State got those tattoos back in the day? You guys aren't saints. He's going to have something.
That's tattoos. We're not doing other things, buddy boy.
All right. With that said, now that I have George here, we don't have Kyle's picks in yet. We'll get those, though, before the week ends. I will apologize in advance. I am not up to date with my scorekeeping on the picks, but I will get that for next week so we can at least go in the final. Okay.
you've had a very brutal week. He definitely has had a brutal week. It is completely understandable, my friend.
But we will get that all wrapped up and taken care of. So let me go here to, let's get it, week 15. Excuse me. All right, let me write it up. Week 15, I will make sure again that I have all the scores accurate for next week's episode so we can go through the final 3 weeks to determine a winner and everybody can kind of take it serious. Again, I'll get Kyle's picks tomorrow, and I'll keep track when I do everything, but we won't have them for tonight. And then I do have George's picks he sent to me, but if you want to just read them off since you're here, we can do it that way too.
Yeah, that's fine.
So I am going to open up here and go full screen, and let's get right into it with Thursday Night Football. We have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers likely going to have Mike Evans back, but Baker Mayfield looked terrible against the Saints last week. He is injured. He has the same shoulder injury that basically cost him his career in Cleveland. He's trying to play through it again, and he's playing terribly. Who saw that coming? But the Falcons are a weird team. They're kind of tanking, but they're also still kind of trying, but they're probably going to be without Drake London again. They're on the road. Tampa's trying to keep pace with the Panthers for the division. Give me Tampa Bay.
Yeah, I agree. And with Bucky Irving back, I think it's kind of easy when all you have to do against this Atlanta team is pretty much run the ball anyway. So, it's not too hard to hand off a football.
As a Bucky Irving owner in a fantasy football league, feed him the rock. I just missed the 1 seed in one of my leagues. I am the 1 seed in the other league. So I was trying to get double ones, but I just missed out. The one guy's team won. I won, but the guy that had the other, we had a tied record. He got a W as well, so he had more points. So he technically gets first place. So I'll take second.
I've got him too. I missed him this season.
Fuck yeah, he was a huge point miss for the team every week. I'm filling in with like Vidal from the Chargers and guys like that. Like I'm plugging in all these backup running backs because I'm like, I don't know, I need somebody out there.
I had Breece Hall.
Wouldn't touch a Jet if you paid me this year. I knew the Jets were going to be terrible, so I stayed away from them. I did fuck up, and I took Garrett Wilson in one league, but it didn't hurt me. I'm still in first place, so we'll see how that goes.
I had Scatterbo too, and he went down. I'm like, oh man, I'm just losing guys left and right this year.
That dude struck me as the kind of guy that was going to knock himself out by like hitting himself in the head with a helmet. Wasn't touching him either. And he may as well have. He was a nut job. Moving on, though, because I think I am going to try to get the show ended early only because it is Wednesday night and it is the floor finale. Yes, and it is. I want to watch that. I'm kind of excited. I'm not going to lie to you. So,
and the Stuart Scott 30 for 30, by the way, is also on ESPN. Clint just.
I'll watch that eventually. I don't know.
I'm going to DVR.
I love Stuart Scott. Don't get me wrong, but like, I don't know. I don't think there's really going to be. I don't think Stuart Scott was that interesting of a guy to where I'm going to come away from this and be like, "Oh my god, I didn't know that." I just think he was a cool guy that liked sports, got a great job, and then unfortunately, got sick, and that was the end of it. I don't know if there's going to be too much like groundbreaking stuff in it. I'll watch it, but I'm not expecting much. Then we skip the Browns and Bears. We saved that one for last. We will get into the Baltimore Ravens and the Cincinnati Bengals. Baltimore's trying to keep pace for the division. Cincinnati might have cost themselves. They lost to the Bills the other day, but Baltimore lost to Pittsburgh as well. So these are two teams that are pretty much in must-win mode. I'm
taking the Bengals, dude. I'm gonna jump on that because Cincinnati didn't miss by much against Buffalo, and I'm like, You know what? Hello, Joe Burrow. A little late to the dance, but at least you're here.
I'm with George. I'm taking Cincinnati at home. To me, 2.5 is pretty much a pick'em, and I like home teams and pick'ems. And I agree with George. I think the firepower for the Cincinnati Bengals is a little more than the Ravens can keep up with because I think Lamar Jackson is more hurt than they lead on, and that Ravens offense does not look good. And their defense doesn't look good, for God's sakes. They're giving up rushing touchdowns to Aaron Rodgers. So with that being said, I don't take them serious, and I think Cincinnati's going to put up, I hope, a lot of points to T. Higgins would be really nice as a T. Higgins fantasy owner. And give maybe a couple touchdowns to Chase Brown again would be nice as well. No complaints for that as a Chase Brown owner. So, yeah, give me the Bengals as well. I'm with you. Next up, we have the Los Angeles Chargers against the Kansas City Chiefs. Kansas City, they're in must win. They need to win, and they need a million things to help them. And I don't think they're going to do enough to get into the playoffs. However, I do think they're going to win this game on Sunday just because Chargers going into a cold Kansas City. Justin Herbert's banged up. His hand is clearly hurt. Obviously, he had surgery on that left hand. They struggled to beat the Eagles at home. The Eagles aren't a very good team right now, and I think Kansas City is a better team overall than the Eagles, if I'm being honest. And I am going to go with the home team, Kansas City Chiefs.
No, I got to disagree with you. I'm sorry, but I want Kansas City to lose like you want Cleveland to lose.
Kansas City.
The more I got, I am a Mahomes and Kelsey fan, big time. But no, I'm sorry. Nope. This is called smack them around, beat them up, and this squad and the coaching staff, they need a reality check, and they're getting it. They are getting it totally. So yeah, I think Chargers win this game, and it's not going to be pretty. The over-under shows you at 41.5. Yeah, this is going to be a low-scoring game. It's going to be ugly. It's going to be nasty. And I'm sorry. The Chargers winning it will pretty much solidify Kansas City falling out this week, and it would be game over. So
I'm sticking with Kansas City. I think at home, that cold weather, they're going to get the W. They're playing with their backs against the wall, and that's when the Chiefs tend to play their best. I think there's a lot of pissed off guys on that team as well. Next up is a potential AFC championship matchup. The Buffalo Bills going to New England. Division matchup. Two of the best teams in the AFC in a wide open AFC. Interesting line. It's basically a pick'em game.
Yeah, I thought that was weird.
I mean, I agree with it. It is a very tough call. There's a part of me that wants to stick with my gut of pick the home team, take New England. New England's on like a 9-game winning streak right now. They've also had a pretty easy schedule in all things considered when you look at who they've actually had to play. I think Buffalo's pretty pissed off. I think Josh Allen went out last week. They did what they had to do against Cincinnati, and I think they're going to try to establish dominance, especially in a division game. Give me Buffalo on the road.
Not after what I saw Buffalo trying to manhandle Pittsburgh and blew it. Yeah, no, I'm taking the Patriots.
All right.
Then come on, Mr. Henderson. Let's roll for that 50.5 over.
I have Travion Henderson as well, so give me a nice game out of him. I would not be mad about it. Next up, we have Washington and New York, arguably the prison inmate game of the week.
Yes,
the Commanders have shut down Jaden Daniels for the year, so it's Marcus Murray. How did Chris Collinsworth say it? Marcus Mariota. You have to say it all funny now. So you're going to have Marcus Mariota against Jackson Dart and the New York Football Giants. As a guy who wants the Giants to win to get out of the Browns away for the draft pick, give me the Giants at home. I also just think the Giants can win this game. I think at home, I think Washington stinks. Give me the Giants.
I've got Dart and Theo, so I need some points this week.
You need some Giants points.
And against that Washington defense right now, yep, sign me up and let's go, boys.
And George, really quick, I had to double check something. Earlier, you mentioned the Buffalo Bills tried to smack around the Pittsburgh Steelers and couldn't do it a couple of weeks ago. They won 26-7. I think that's pretty good smacking around, in my opinion. I thought it was a pretty good blowout.
It was more Buffalo's, not so much the offense. I think it was more the defense.
Don't get me wrong. I know that, but I'm just saying I think Buffalo's defense was their weak point going into the season. So the fact that their defense is stepping up at the right time, that's what I like about them.
Yeah, well, they didn't do such a hot job with Cincinnati. They let them roll almost 30 points. It got real close.
It's tough. I mean, you saw how bad the weather was. You couldn't even run. You couldn't get traction. The games like that are weird. The Browns speed up on the Steelers last year in snow. The Browns aren't a better team than the Steelers.
Well, it's all this East Coast. We're getting hit with a storm Saturday night, so it's gonna be snowball weather, folks. For sure.
If I saw one team that can win in the snow, I'm sticking with Buffalo. Next up, we have the Kenny Two-Glove Pickett Las Vegas Raiders going to Philadelphia. He gets revenge against his old team that he won the Super Bowl with last year. Not enough. Give me Philadelphia in this one. The Raiders are dog shit.
Yeah, the play calling out of Philly, even Sam was nearly losing his mind the other night. And I was like, and then I went to bed and I woke up the next morning to see that they lost in overtime. I'm going, I might want to do a health check on Sam.
Yeah, I mean, what did Jalen Hurts
I'm not feeling
well?
Yeah, he's like, I'm not feeling well. I'm like, yep.
That was a rough game for them.
Yeah, he's been having a coronary for about the past 3 weeks. He has not been impressed with Philly.
No, they have a Super Bowl hangover, and it's bad.
Yeah, but by 11 and a half, dude.
It was a late hangover.
Dude, 11 and a half is, you know me, I'm all about those nice large lines. Not this go around.
No, I'm not touching. I don't trust Philly enough to take that. Do I think they win? Do I think they can win by 12? I don't know. Speaking of huge spreads, here's the biggest one of the week, I think. Jacksonville, 12.5 favorites over the New York Jets. I'm not touching that spread with a 10-foot pole. However, I will take Jacksonville.
Yeah, I took Jacksonville too, and Aaron Glenn is starting to scare me in some situations.
He's a coach.
A couple of things are working, and it's like, okay, but I'm still not picking you. Still ain't picking you. Give me Jacksonville.
Amen to that. Next up, I'm guessing we're all taking Houston here as well. Houston's one of the hottest teams in football. They have the best defense in the league. I don't think Arizona stands a chance.
I'd like to know what everybody's drinking all of a sudden in Houston, because damn.
Well, the offense should find it because their offense sucks.
Yeah. Like I said, somebody flipped a switch. I don't know what's going on.
All right, now we get into the late window here. We've got the Denver Broncos hosting the Green Bay Packers in what should be, I assume, the CBS game of the week. I cannot wait to watch that one. Give me Green Bay. I think Green Bay is the better team. I think Denver, if you really break down their games, I think they've gotten lucky. I think Bo Nix is actually not a good quarterback. Again, they've just kind of found ways to sneak out W's, and I think Green Bay is the better overall team, and I'm going with the Packers.
Yeah, if we end up seeing Indy at Seattle, I think we should riot.
Yeah.
They better not do it to us.
In my opinion,
you better have Detroit and LA on Fox, and you better have Green Bay and Denver on CBS.
I want to watch Phillip Rivers, so if they give me that game, I am okay with that. I want to see chubby Phillip Rivers out there getting his ass kicked.
You want to
just for 1 week. I want to see game one. I want to watch him get his ass kicked, and then I never need to see a Colts game again. But for 1 week, give me it. Give me that. Next up, you're taking Green Bay as well, you said?
No, I took the Broncos.
Oh, you're taking Denver.
No.
Okay. My apologies.
Home team, home field advantage. I'm going with the Broncos.
All right. And next up, we have the Detroit Lions going to the Rams, the best team in the NFC, the Los Angeles Rams. Rams are 6-point favorites. I can't bet against the Rams right now. Matthew Stafford's playing like an MVP. Detroit is clinging to life, trying to stay in the playoff hunt, but I don't think they get it done against the Rams. Give me LA.
Yeah, I know this is the quarterback swap bowl part 6.
I didn't even think about that. It's been so long, I forgot.
Like, how the heck did you guys keep getting to play against each other? It's just been insane. But yeah, the Rams are so stinking hot right now. There's just no way. They're clicking on all cylinders. Blake Corum actually has now gotten in on this act, and it's like, okay, look out.
And they activated Tutu Atwell.
Yeah, that doesn't hurt.
Yeah, add another wide receiver. Not a bad thing.
Just another one. Yeah, sure. No problem.
Next up, we have the Carolina Panthers taking on the New Orleans Saints, fresh off a W. I think Carolina, coming off a bye week, they're ready to win. They're ready to play. They want that division title. They're going to come out all guns a-blazing. Excuse me. And I don't think New Orleans has the same success they had against Tampa Bay last week. Give me Carolina minus 3.5 or 2.5. Sorry.
Yeah, I was going to say. Yeah, I agree with you. The Carolina they're not messing around, and it's impressive to see. And I said it last year. Carolina was winning some games that, people looked at and went, you shouldn't be winning these games. And they were. And it's like, okay, well, hey, it's a crappy division. And you know what? Yeah, They can do
Somebody's got to win it.
Yeah, somebody has to.
All right, next up, I think it's a clean sweep here for the Niners over the Titans.
Oh yeah, and no, I wasn't taking that point. No, not after seeing what the 49ers just barely rambled through with Cleveland. I was like, I know they're at home, but I'm like, look, Shanahan, just word of advice, don't play down to them, and Saleh, just keep blitzing the hell out of the kid because he can't handle the pressure.
No, San Francisco should win this one easily. I didn't realize that their spread was going to be that big either, but it makes sense.
Yeah.
But speaking of big spreads, my Atlanta, Seattle, 13.5, a 2-touchdown advantage over Phillip Rivers, Grandpa Phil, and the Colts. Give me Seattle, but that spread is fucking ridiculous. Imagine betting on a 2-touchdown spread. That's crazy.
Dude, I know you were even probably thinking, hey, there's the one George is going after. I
didn't know it was that high. I honestly had no idea.
No, I mean, hey, if somebody's going to offer me $100 freely to utilize, sure, okay.
I'd throw it on there for sure. Yeah, shits and giggles.
I'd throw it out there, but damn, I have not seen anything that large in a very long time. And I'm sorry, Indy still does have somewhat of a defense, so. Yeah, no, it's okay. not the spread,
yeah, I think you're going to get a lot of Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah. No, I got Seattle.
Next up, we've got Minnesota at Dallas. I am taking the Dallas Cowboys. I think Minnesota stinks.
Yeah, enough said. And I am taking the spread on this one at the -5.5.
Okay,
I was shocked it was only 5.5.
I thought about it.
I was like, why is it only 5.5? I'm like, everybody's been blowing Minnesota out, but I'm like, hey, you're going to hand me that freebie. I'll take it. I'll take that all day. I was going to say, do they know who's quarterbacking in Minnesota this week? Because
shitty McCarthy.
Oh, no, I thought he was out.
McCarthy's out? I didn't see that.
I thought he was out. Because didn't they start the other rook last week?
No, McCarthy played last week.
Oh, McCarthy did play last week.
He just forgot that Justin Jefferson's on his team.
Yeah, let's not talk about that as a fan.
Yeah, McCarthy had 3 touchdowns, and they beat the Commanders 31-0 last week.
That's right. They won last week. It was the week before Seattle turned around and went, hey.
Yeah, that was the one where McCarthy didn't play.
Yeah, that's the one McCarthy didn't play. See, all these weeks just skipping.
A lot of backup quarterbacks.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And then we get to Monday Night Football. The Pittsburgh Steelers hosting the Miami Dolphins. Miami's on a bit of a resurgence, but I think reality is going to set in for them. Give me the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, I went back and forth. I'm not going to lie to you. I did go back and forth on this because I'm like, hey, Miami doesn't win when it's under 30 degrees. And then Miami did win in under 30 degrees. And I went.
But it was the Jets.
Exactly. So it was the Jets.
And
I'm willing to double down, and I cannot take Pittsburgh. I can't.
Oh, you're taking my Rodgers. Okay.
I am taking the Dolphins. And a prayer. Right. And a prayer.
Hey, we'll see what happens. All right, and then
this season has been a cluster. You know what?
It's been the most unpredictable season I can recall. I've never been less confident in my picks every week.
It's insane. It's no lie. It is totally insane. These guys who do the memes thing and who's in the top 5 contenders club this week? From where we started, from the beginning of the season to the middle to now, so much has changed. It's super scary.
I mean, if you ask, I was talking to somebody the other day, and they were like, "Who do you think is going to be in the Super Bowl?" I'm like, NFC, I'd pick the Rams. AFC, no fucking idea. I was like, literally not a clue.
Yeah. If the Rams if the Rams get on that lockdown, sure, but anybody can get beaten on any time. So, but yeah, the Rams would, I think, be a favorite at this point in time. But my God, I am with you. I have no idea. Not a clue.
Wide open. One thing I do have a good idea about, and I think I already wrote you down here for Chicago. I think it's a safe assumption that you're taking the Bears.
Yes. Oh, 100%. I
kind of figured.
In fact, I even picked up the even though I have DeAndre Swift on one other fantasy team, I did pick up Chicago's other running back the other day on like 3 teams because
I mean, he gets all the goal line carries, so that's a good pick.
And he gets a lot of the good third down stuff too. So I was like, wow, I said, that's a nice little 1-2 punch combo thing they're working on. And I'm going, Ben, you're killing me, dude. I'm going to have to pay a little extra attention next year. But all right. Yeah, this is going to be interesting. I found this out by accident that these two played against each other before. And Caleb's up 1-0 on him.
And it's going to be 2-0 by the end of the day on Sunday afternoon. Shedeur Sanders losing is, especially to good teams, is pretty standard back from his Colorado days. So it shouldn't be surprising to anybody that that's how it's going to go in the NFL. I'm taking the Chicago Bears as well. Chicago leads the league in takeaways. Chicago is a team on the cusp of the playoffs. I think they're 8-4 right now. Their offseason was spent putting a lot of money into the defense and a lot of money and draft picks into the offensive line. They are building from the trenches. They obviously took Caleb Williams last year. Caleb Williams is kind of funny that a lot of people are crediting Caleb Williams for the success of the Bears. Caleb Williams, if you look at his numbers from his rookie season, are damn near identical to the season he's having right now. He has the same amount of interceptions. I think he has the same amount of touchdowns. He has less yardage this year. He is the same quarterback as last year. Their defense got better. Obviously, adding Rome Odunze, is a good. Or having Rome Odunze helped. Having I can't think of his name. The tight end they took. You know who I'm talking about. Loveland. That's it. I wanted to call him Lovecraft, and I'm like, that's not right.
I got him on a couple teams.
Adding some weapons for their first-round quarterback, building the trenches for their first-round quarterback. He's not doing anything extra. He is just playing the game well, and they're winning football games, except for when you need him to throw a touchdown in the red zone against the Packers, apparently. But I digress. I think he has enough juice in the tank to beat the Browns. It's supposed to be a frosty one. I'm seeing they're saying possibly negative 20-degree wind chills. Browns, again, the Browns do not travel well defensively, especially. I could see Shedeur really struggling in this game against a defense that takes the ball away a ton, and that cold weather is not going to help anybody either. I have the Bears winning this one pretty easily to the point where you might not even really need to watch the second half if you're not a diehard Browns fan. This should be a pretty quick one.
Unless you're looking out on that sack record, because this game, I think, is it right here, boys and girls.
Oh, no, Myles Garrett's going to eat for sure, but
I think Myles gets all 3.
I mean, he had 5 against the Patriots, and that was a complete blowout. Mm-hmm. So scoreboard should not affect him getting the sacks 1 iota, in my opinion. So we'll see what happens with that.
Yep, I think this is the game right here. I think he gets 3, and it's pretty much, drop it into 5th after this week.
I am a non-believer of Shedeur Sanders, as most of you know, so this is another week for him to try to prove himself to me. Be better than 50% passing. Try not to turn the ball over. Try to actually complete downfield passes instead of screenplays where you get a bunch of yak, because that, again, is pretty much all that's happening. Do I think he can do that? No. If he does it, I'll eat my words, but he has to prove it. All right. We are nearing the end. It is time for everybody's favorite segment and George's favorite slide. It is time. Speaking of sliding, just the tip. Thank you, Taylor, for getting us ready here. I'm going to start off here with mine just because I don't know what George's is, but I'm going to click it and it's going to spoil everything for everybody.
It's all you, dude.
I saw 2 pictures. Okay.
Down. Yeah, I didn't know down because I didn't know if you wanted the book or if you wanted the docuseries.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I wanted the documentary.
Okay. I wasn't sure, so I gave you both.
That works. So I watched I Like Me, the John Candy documentary that was directed by Colin Hanks, Tom Hanks' son, and produced by Ryan Reynolds, the Deadpool, Ryan Reynolds, of course. To be honest, I'm very familiar with John Candy. However, I'm not familiar with a lot of his movies. I grew up I was born in 1989. So by that point, John Candy was already famous. When I started watching movies, he was already dead. He died in the early 90s. I watched Chris Farley. As a young kid, I looked at those two as rivals, and I was like, who cares about John Candy? Chris Farley's hilarious. Then Chris Farley died, and then I was devastated. And then the older I got, the more I started watching some John Candy stuff, and I'm like, oh, this guy's really funny. Like, I missed out on some shit. And then this documentary came out. I watched it, and I was taken aback how he seemed like the nicest fucking guy in the world. John Candy seemed like a genuine person. Hilarious, friendly. Everybody loved him. Seemed like he really was a prisoner of his work to the point where he had a hard time saying no to people. And I think that's what caused his demise, was because he just overworked himself. And it's a real shame, but unfortunately it also seems like there was some hereditary health issues. His father, I learned in the documentary, had a heart attack at the age of 35, which is crazy young. So for John Candy to also have heart complications and pass away in his 40s, not that surprising, learning about his father's history. So great documentary. They have some of the best people in Hollywood in that. I mean, they've got Steve Martin, they've got Martin Short, they've got I'm drawing a blank on her name. Bill Murray's in it. It's the mom from Home Alone. I can't think of her name. Catherine O'Hara. She's in it. It's got Eugene Levy is in it. Just so many good people in this because they were all friends with him from Canada. They grew up with him. They did comedy together. They did improv together. They did movies and TV shows together. Just a fantastic documentary. If you have a chance to watch it, it's like 2 hours long on Amazon Prime. It was excellent. So if you get a chance to check it out, I highly recommend it. And that is my tip for the week.
I can't wait to watch it. I can't wait to watch
really good.
And when
it was really good.
This up, I was like, oh my gosh, I must watch it. As somebody who, of course, has been around to literally see his career the whole way through. I mean, the first one I ever saw with him was Stripes, and it was hilarious.
So they go into that. They go into how he made Stripes. They go into him working on planes, trains, and automobiles. I mean, they go through everything. They go through his whole life. But it's fantastic. I highly recommend it. So check it out for sure.
Can't wait.
All right, everybody. I am going to get off of here. As I mentioned earlier, I want to go watch the season finale of The Floor with the wife. And we will talk to you guys next week. We'll see what happens with the Browns. We'll see if the Cavs can turn their season around a little bit here. See if the Guardians make any moves. And we will hopefully have Kyle back. Give him your well wishes if you haven't already. And we will talk to everybody again in a week. Thank you for watching.
That should also probably be the last week of the year because the Eves are the next 2 Wednesdays after that. Christmas Eve.
True.
Are the next 2 Wednesdays following, my friend. So
okay. Well, we'll figure it out. I'm actually off work starting the 19th is my last day, and I don't go back to the 5th. So if we have to change some hours to get some shows in just to make sure we finish up the season properly, we'll figure it out. Okay, I was gonna say because I'm I'm jamming. I get Bryce, or I should say Bryce has me jamming. Okay, so we'll figure it out. If you want to figure something out, let me know. And like I said, if all else fails, I'll set stuff up for you. Okay, accurately. Well, now that the playoffs are set, it shouldn't be a problem. But no, that's fine with me. We'll talk with Kyle and everything. We'll see everybody's schedule and we'll see what works. And again, if we have to do even like a quick half-hour episode just to get picks in, it is what it is. We'll do something. So we'll figure it out. Okay. Yeah, sounds good. I mean, worst case, I think we could do a show on New Year's Eve. No one's really doing anything till late. Yeah, we don't have to do it at 7, but we can do something that day. But Christmas Eve is another story. Obviously, people have family stuff, so we'll figure it out. All right, everybody. Yeah, early, I am working the week of Christmas, but the week of New Year's, I am off. Okay, perfect. We'll figure it out. All right, everybody. Thank you for watching. We will talk to you next week, 7 to 9, talking about balls. Cleveland, that was for you.